Morning, Russ. We'll start with the game at the weekend, I suppose the start of the season in general. How have you rated your start so far?
Um, it's been frustrating. I think commentary game, we were excellent. We miss a penalty. They score a goal on a set piece where we have a young player playing on the pitch who done great on the day and made a mistake for the goal. And he's going to learn from that and be better for it. We get beat. Northampton, outstanding performance, completely dominant, could have scored more goals. Going into the Doncaster one, again, a really, really good performance. They had 2 shots on goal all game. They scored one of them, and then we're chasing our tail, and we equalise late on, and then we have 2 massive chances to win it, and we don't take them. So it's, looking at Doncaster's results since then, it seems a decent point, but it's one we felt got away from us, and we should have had all 3. Lincoln, similar, completely dominant. Referee gives a terrible decision. No doubt about it. The more I look back at it, it's a really poor decision. We go 1-0 down, react really well, completely dominate the game in terms of shots, shots on target, touches in the opposition box, which has been a theme for all of them games. So the first 4 games, we have more possession, but forget that, we have more shots on target, we have more shots on goal, we have more touches inside the opposition box. So really pleasing, because if you end up with those stats throughout the season, you end up winning more games than you don't, for sure. So frustrating to only get 1 point out of Lincoln and Doncaster, no doubt about it. And when we equalised against Lincoln, we should go on to win the game. We're completely on top, and then they sucker punch us with a counter attack, and then it becomes too open because we're really trying to score, and they have a couple of chances after that. So frustrating. And then the Crew one, just complete outlier, disappointing. What I would say is there's not many teams who can play poorly away from home and still have some modicum of control in the game. In terms of, most teams, if they get dominated away from home, it's backs to the wall, you're defending for 90 minutes. We weren't doing that. We just didn't defend the key actions well enough, and we gave them too many chances, and that was born out of conceding 2 early goals and then way too much anxiety, way too much. So the Crew one was really disappointing. I've said that, and we've learnt from that. I've said that to you all the way along. We learn from every single game. We analyse. We then plan for the next one. We practice, then we perform, and then we analyse again, and we repeat that cycle. So I said to you after how disappointed I was. The players are really disappointed with themselves, but we found a few things in there that will really help us moving forward. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that happened so early on. But to sit here with 1 point in 3 games, it's frustrating and it's disappointing because before Saturday we've deserved a lot more, but we haven't got them. And the frustrating thing is, I think if you look at it, we've conceded we've given away the 5th least shots on target in out of the whole league. So only, I think we're joint 5th. 3 teams have given other teams less shots than us, and we find ourselves on 2 defeats and a draw. So frustrating and can't happen. But at the same time, if we continue the levels we did at Doncaster and Northampton and Lincoln, and we move on from the Crew one quickly, I'm really positive that we'll have more good days and positive results than we will the other way.
I suppose it's too obvious, isn't it, to say that you're missing a striker, but we already knew that. What do you feel the big issue is?
I think one of the biggest issues is, and people forget, is Callum Britton's only been in for 4 weeks. Scott Fraser's only been in for 3 weeks. Joe Mason's only been in for 4 weeks. All of these guys, Lasse Sorensen's been in for 4 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks. So we haven't had time. And since they've come in, the games have come thick and fast. We haven't had time. So fitness-wise, they're playing catch-up still. They're catching up and getting up to speed. The work we do, and we do a hell of a lot of work on us and tactically and how we're going to play, how we're going to look, in possession, out of possession. So they're still catching up on all of that. So we're a new team that are coming together, and we look like that at the moment. There's some really positive signs, some really, really impressive stuff, and there's some stuff that we really need to work on and really need to focus on, and I knew that all the way along. So I've seen enough, though, to be really positive about it, for sure. So when I get asked what's missing is we need our 11 best players on the pitch and them fit and firing and performing at their best. Richard Keogh's only just coming back into the frame. George Williams has been out for a long time. So I'm really positive because we've got a lot of guys that will come into the team at some point and are just not ready yet. So we need some time and we need to be patient. And but the ones that we have been playing, the performance we've put in, show me more than enough that we're on the right track. Apart from the crew one, which we need to move on from quickly. But I'll give these. I'll move on from that. I've moved on from that. I'll allow these lads an off day every now and again. Not to say that they're, it's they can do that very often, but we've not had many of them. We've not had many of them since we took over. So it's one of those, we have to write it off. We learn from it really quickly, and there's been some real takeaways for us. And then we move on and make sure we get everyone as fit as possible and as much work into them as we possibly can.
You say you want as much work in them as you can. Going to be pretty difficult during October, isn't it? I think 7 games coming up. How much does that affect preparation for each game? Obviously, if you're playing Saturday, Tuesday so often. Yeah,
we just have to work in different ways. So a lot of video stuff, a lot of video meetings with the players, a lot of communication. There'll be much less time on the training pitch throughout October. So we have to make sure we're learning as much as possible, and the players are learning as much as possible about us and what we're doing, where we're going, and whether that's through video, whether it's through individual analysis, whether it's through unit meetings, team meetings, whatever it is, we're going to have to try and get as much work and detail as possible through different forms rather than just on the training pitch. But we do that anyway. We focus a lot on. We have a lot of meetings, a lot of communication with the players. I really enjoy it that way, and I think the players really respond to that. And we have people who learn in different ways. Some of them are better sitting and watching it on the screen and seeing it really clearly, and some are better doing it and living it on the training pitch. So we have to find a balance with that, where lads are getting enough recovery time in October, and also we're being able to get enough work into them.
1 week to go then before I stop asking the question that I ask you every week about transfers. What's the latest?
Latest is the same. We're still actively working on bringing a player in. There still might be a couple of players that end up moving on from here. It's a really unique transfer window. It's a really unique time. I think the news with the fans, obviously, last week has really altered everyone's plans, including ours. So, yeah, we've had to reassess what we're doing and what we're looking at, and the landscape's changed a little bit, being completely honest. But I think that's the same for every club up and down the country. So, yeah, we're looking into the other options now and working our way through it. And yeah, hopefully we'll add something that we need to the squad in the next week before the transfer window shuts.
2 players that you have been linked with, Ross Stewart and Jake Doyle-Hayes. Any truth to those rumours?
2 names that I know, but one of them is attached to a club where I have a lot of respect and know the manager personally, so I don't want to talk about him. And the other guy is a free agent who's been on I'm sure a number of lists for a few clubs. So yeah, there's nothing in it for us as a club with either of them. So yeah, I have nothing to really comment on, unfortunately.
It feels like it's going to go right down to the wire, doesn't it? This one, that with everybody, as you say, not knowing the lay of the land, and these deals always come up late, don't they?
Yeah, I think we have to be open to something coming up that maybe hasn't come up already. Being a manager for a fairly short period of time, I've learned quickly that things change really quickly at clubs. I mean, if talk about a plan or a recruitment strategy, or in terms of loaning people out, etc. Yeah, everyone seems to hit the panic button in the last week, so all of a sudden it really starts moving. Whether that's the case or not this time, I don't know, because as I said, it's a really unique time and a really different environment in terms of transfers and what's going on. So everyone's saying the same. You talk to agents, talk to other managers, just people are still working out what their budget's going to be and what they have available after everything in the news last week. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I think we have certain names in mind, but we're also open to something potentially coming up in the last few days, whatever it takes. As I said all the way along, we're not going to sign anyone just for the sake of it. It has to be the right person, the right fit for the values of this club and the identity and where we want to go, and need to be able to add to us on the pitch.
We're about to speak to Jordan Houghton after yourself. How have you rated his performances so far this season?
Houghton, yeah, he's really consistent. He's been a big player for us since we came in. I think he'll be a bit frustrated with Saturday for sure. I think there's bits we're still trying to tweak as a team and with the formation and the way we're doing things. So we need to really clarify the most important role for every player. And I think Jordan, we sometimes take for granted that the importance he has in the build-up, and every team now is just putting someone on him. So it's frustrating for him, and it makes it more difficult for sure. There's a big difference this season that teams are desperate to stop us and to beat us. Whereas last year, as I said to you before, I felt there was no real respect for us because of our league position, which makes complete sense. But now everyone's fresh, everyone's ready to go, everyone's willing to work extremely hard out of possession against us, and part of that includes a lot of the teams just man marking Jordan. So we need to find a way for him to enable him or whoever plays in that position to get on the ball more and try and dictate the game for us. And he's trying to work it, and he's a great learner, Jordan. And he knows now there's real competition in that midfield. You know, Louis Thompson's coming back fit, Dave Kasumu, Ben Gladwin, Lass, all these guys, but they can all play a number of roles. So he has to really be on his game to keep moving forward, and I'm sure he's really honest, and he'll say he wants more for himself as the season develops and goes on.
It does sometimes feel, doesn't it, that if he's playing well, then the rest of the team follows suit. Similarly, if he's having an off-colour day, the rest of the team follows.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the way the team are functioning. I think because he plays that pivotal role, I think, if the team's not performing very well, it's really difficult for him to then function. So I don't know which one comes first, really, but I think it's always a team thing. I don't think if one person plays not very well, then the team ends up. I think it's the other way around. I think if we're not functioning very well, then his role can look less effective and less influential.
Ipswich, then, a team that you probably have had a few run-ins with down the years. Does that add a little bit of extra spice for you this one weekend?
I think. Well, I worked with a manager for 6 years as a player, so that adds a little bit. So probably, I'd be lying if I said, I think they've started the season really well. The fact, obviously, I played for a club that is Ipswich don't think very fondly of for a long time and had a really good record against. It probably adds a little bit. For me, it's a game that obviously I've got a huge amount of respect for their manager and what he did for me in my career and faith he showed in me as a football player a long time ago. And I look forward to seeing him. But it's a game that I want to win. It's a game we want to win. It's a game we've worked extremely hard on this week, and it's a game that the players should look forward to. I've said to them, this month is a great opportunity for us to see where we're at, for us to really embrace the challenge with some tough games, some tough fixtures. And I think our record, especially at home last season, against the top teams in the league, Oxford, Portsmouth, Rotherham away from home, Coventry away from home, we had a really, really good record against the top teams. And I feel like Ipswich will be up there for where they are thereabouts for most of the season because they've got a really strong squad. And they've really changed what they're doing from last season, and it seems to be really working for them and really effective. So it's a really good challenge for us, and one I want the players to embrace, and I'm really looking forward to and excited for. Just want to win a game of football. It's as simple as that. The players deserve to win a game of football for how hard they work, and if they bring their level of performance, we know that they're capable of. And we have a real chance of winning our first 3 points and kicking on from there because it's 3 games in. It's still so early. You win a game, you end up going to 10th or 8th or something stupid. So, I just want them to get what they deserve. And if they approach it with the right mentality on Saturday, we have a chance to win the game.
I mean, it shows, doesn't it, that when they came down, they were sort of in a bit of disarray. Paul Lambert comes in and it's taken them the best part of a year to turn things around. It shows not only how hard it is to turn a club around when they're in trouble, but also how difficult League One is. Yeah,
I think it takes time. I think last year we managed to impose a style of play or an identity, whatever you want to call it, really quickly in a really tough position that got us out of trouble. We've then had a massive turnover in players in the squad. So it does take time, and I think what Paul's shown there is I think he took a while to work out after the relegation. There's always a hangover, it's difficult, and he took a while to work out who he could rely on, what he wanted in the squad, what he needed to add, what he wanted to add, and the way he wanted to go about it. And they seem to have really worked that out and have found a way that really suits them and a style that suits them and the players that they think they can go and do it. So it takes time for I said that all the way along. It's if you've got a really clear vision for the team, a really clear way of doing things, makes it a lot easier. And I think they've got that. I know that we've got that for sure. I know exactly where we want to go and how we're going to get there. I just don't know how long it's going to take. That's down to the players when they step over the white line. So all the signs I see in training, all the signs I see in performances before the Crew one tells me we'll get there. And this season will be an improvement on last. There's no doubt about it. It has to be. And I've said all the way along, that's all we need to do. We have to improve on last season and see where that takes us. And I'm confident we're going to do that. And you know, we need to get that first win as soon as possible for the players more than anything, because they need to feel they're getting what they deserve and what they work so hard for. And hopefully that'll be this Saturday.
And what's the latest with your injuries? George Williams and Louis Thompson, I suppose, are the only ones that haven't really kicked the ball for you yet.
Yeah, so George is fit now. He's available to be in the squad. He's had a couple of weeks training, which is good. And Louis is back on the grass and training in the squad now, so he'll be in contention. Probably not for Saturday, but for Stevenage next Tuesday. It'll be a great opportunity to get some minutes into players like Richard and George and Louis next Tuesday. So yeah, we have to plan ahead and get everyone ready for a really busy October. Obviously we've got a game first on Saturday. We want to go and win, but it's a real positive to have those guys back and fully fit and involved. Real good characters and players.
Just something, I suppose, on the sentimental note, really, the fact that Ben Gladwin made his first start for a little under 3 years on Saturday. That's massive psychologically for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't aware it was that long, to be honest, because he's played so many games during pre-season for us. I didn't think much of it until I was told afterwards. So huge credit to Ben, how hard he's had to work, how his resilience, his mentality to get back to playing and starting games. And he's shown everyone in a short period of time here how effective and how good a player he can be. It's now about making sure we keep him fit. We maintain his programme in terms of the balance between training and staying fit, but also making sure that he's right and ready to perform on a Saturday, which is the most important thing. So yeah, I think he'd just be frustrated with our performance and his performance, because he's really hard on himself, really looks into himself, really self-aware, and really knows what he wants and how good he can be. So, but I thought, yeah, for him to start and get through 90 minutes is a big bonus for us and for him. So I'm really pleased with that, and hopefully now with Ben we just keep him fit and we just keep getting those minutes into him, and it will just get better and better.